couple weeks back, I was at the Great New York Train Show and picking up some bargains, one of them being this gondola that, of course, $5 can't beat the price, but when you actually start looking at it, you can see that the couplers, the springs are totally shot. The couplers are in decent shape, otherwise they need some cleaning up, a little bit of wire brush action with the Dremel tool, but thought it would be interesting to make a video showing how I take care of getting the couplers working properly again. So these are the tools that I like to use when I'm completing this operation. Most important being those little diagonal nippers. The center punch there is just the right size for dealing with the rivet. And the miniature bar clamp I got at Harbor Freight was really useless for anything else, but it's terrific for acting as a third hand to help keep things lined up while you're trying to get all these small parts in. But anyway, here's how I did it. So this is a coupler from another gondola that I had already removed from the wheel set. Normally I'd do a better job of cleaning this up before I got started, but I just wanted to go through the basics here. The diagonal nippers are just the right thing. Just sort of work on the crimped over end, going around the outside there, trying to get it so that it's cut back small enough. Sometimes the rivet's long enough you can just snip it right off. A little harder doing this while watching it through the camera. Once you get enough of it worked away, you can usually get the nippers underneath the head of the rivet there. Sometimes I snip it right off. Usually I try to pull it out. Usually I do a better job of getting the hammered end smaller, but give it a little bit of a pull and a tweak, and eventually it'll come out. There we go. Pull out the knuckle. You can see that spring is totally shot. Again, normally I'd do a better job of cleaning everything up before I started in on this next step. We'll just wipe it out. This is a dry Q-tip. If it's really dirty, I'll use the Dremel tool. Try and get it nice and clean. Spending some time getting it all cleaned out really helps. Then I use the Q-tip to prop open the pin from the spring on the bottom. You can buy these pins for very cheap off of Trains or one of the other suppliers. I've got the black and the silver for depending on the era. Most of the post-war stuff is the black pin, and then I seem to run into the silver ones more with the stuff that came in the 70s and later. These springs are tiny, so having a good pair of tweezers makes it easier to deal with, and they tend to fly around, but again they're cheap, and if you lose it, it's not the end of the world. Trick I learned online watching another video is to use a little bit of grease to help hold the spring in place and the pin while you're trying to juggle everything into the right position before you close the rivet back down. Again, a little tough to find it when you're watching through the lens of the camera. Just a small dab of grease there. Then grabbing that small 90-degree bend, like a little handle, slide it onto the end of the rivet. Grease will help you hold it. The long leg goes down into the coupler. And then this is the fun part. What you need to do is pick up the knuckle and get that so that the rivet is just starting to go through the hole. That 90-degree bend of the spring is going to catch the back of the knuckle. And then you don't put the rivet all the way in, you just put it in a small way so everything's loose enough that you can push the knuckle into the coupler. Not lose the spring, you can't push it too much. But then you can slide the rivet the rest of the way. The grease will help hold it in place. Get rid of the little bar clamp. And we can see that it's working. It's got a nice spring action to it again. So we got to close up that rivet. And the technique that I've found to work best is just to use that center punch to drive the end of the rivet closed. So I have a mini anvil. This actually came from back in the day when I was into boat building. This was a little iron that you would use to back up any of the nails that you were bending over, rivets you were setting. But any chunk of metal, this is nice because it's got a little bit of heft to it. And it took me a little while to figure out this technique. One hand supporting the center punch and the coupler and holding the rivet firmly against the iron, and then a few whacks with the hammer should set it. Give it a look. Probably needs a few more. At this point, I doubt it would come out, but I like making it a little bit tighter. Obviously, you don't want to go too far because then it'll bind and the coupler won't open well. A few light taps, and we're done. Again, you could do this with the wheel still attached. I just had this one apart. It was going to be a little bit easier to video. But you can use that bar clamp to hold the entire truck, and a little bit harder to juggle your center punch and the hammer and the truck, but not that bad. So I hope that was helpful and somebody can make use of this video. I appreciate you staying through to the end and watching, and wish you luck with all your repairs.